going to do is go look at the issue of what we're going to do with the.
Well, I'm definitely going to be in Washington tomorrow because that's what our concern is. We get killed if we don't represent our interests in the disproportionate amount of unemployment in our community. And I and Ben Jealous are going to be back in there tomorrow. I think Mark is going to join us, Laura Murphy and others. Hold it a minute, Dr. Ogletree. I have on the line Tavis Smiley, I believe. Is that Tavis Smiley?
Reverend Al, how are you, sir?
I was fine till you started messing with me this morning. What's wrong with you?
Nothing's wrong with me, and I'm not messing with you or Brother Ogletree. I'm
you doing, Tavis?
Hey, J. Charles, how are you?
Good.
What I said this morning was on national radio, which I'll say again now, is that we need to have a conversation about whether or not there needs to be a black agenda. And when there are certain African-American leaders, including respectfully and lovingly, as I said this morning, the two on this phone right now, who are quoted in the New York Times and other places coming out of meetings in the White House suggesting publicly in the media and to black people that this president doesn't need to have an African-American agenda. What I said this morning, and I prefaced it by saying how much I love you and Brother Ogletree and Mark Morial and Ben Jealous and the icon Dr. Dorothy Height. But when black leaders start saying to black people in the black media that we don't need to have this president focus on an African-American agenda, given that black folk are getting crushed, I said we need to come together to have a conversation about what that means. I think there's a disconnect between those kinds of quotes and black people. I made no.
I think there's a disconnect between. I think there's a disconnect between what you're saying and what was said. First of all, we never said that, and second of all, the New York Times never said we said that. And if you wait a minute, I didn't interrupt you. And if you thought we had said that, you should have picked up the phone and called and asked us. When people were beating you down last year for your opposition for President Obama, I came to your forum and defended you. So the least you could have done if you thought we said something that you had issue with was pick up the phone if you have such love for us and ask us, was this said? But I challenge you to show me what New York Times said. That the New York Times said that we said we didn't discuss a race jobs bill. We did not say that we did not think he needed to discuss it. Quote.
I can quote. I have the article in front of me. I can quote from it right now if you want.
From which date? Because I want to pull it up.
I got it right now. February 9th, 2010.
Go ahead.
And the article says, and I quote, talking about the fact that President Obama has been avoiding the race question. The article says, and I quote, February 9, 2010, many black leaders view this White House position as wise. The Reverend Al Sharpton, who is working with Mr. Obama to close the achievement gap in education, says the president is smart not to ballyhoo a black agenda. It goes on to quote Charles Olgetree. It goes on to quote Dr. Dorothy.
Okay, well, Tavis, tell me when I said that he is smart not to ballyhoo a black agenda, how does that even come anywhere near you saying I walked out the White House saying that we don't need a black agenda that the president deals with? If I said that if you were getting ready to have an event and you'd be smart not to ballyhoo a certain segment of the event, that does not mean that I don't think you should have the event or emphasize something. What you just read is nowhere near what you said, Tavis.
First of all, Reverend Al, if you get a transcript of what I said this morning, I did not say
You just told me what you said, and I'm telling you you're wrong. And what you just read does not correspond with what you said.
I did not say anything more in my commentary this morning than what was said in these articles, number one. Number two,
Mr. Smiley, you did not just read an article that we walked outside of the White House and said that we don't need a black agenda.
Reverend Al, and that's not what my commentary said this morning. You should.
But you just said that yourself.
No, I'm telling you now what I said in my commentary this morning, number one. Number two, for 10 consecutive years, you and Charles Olgetree were pretty much at every one of these forums that I've had on the state of the black.
That's correct.
And in 10 consecutive years, I sent you the same letter this time that I sent all the others. You say I didn't call you. We're friends, and we talk and hang out and have dinner together. But every year I invite you to participate in this conversation. I do it the same way.
First of all, Tavis, first of all, you have always called me and said, hold this date. because you're getting a letter. Second of all, you announced publicly you are not having the forum this year.
Exactly.
You announced that publicly. Exactly. So sending me a letter and not even calling me and assuming I got a letter when you had announced you were not doing it is disingenuous. Hold it. I'm going to let you talk as long as you want, but I'm going to hit you point by point. So that is disingenuous. Third of all, for you to get on and say that we said something that we didn't say and then read a quote that doesn't say that, because February 9th, we hadn't even had the meeting with the president. And I repeat, I don't think the president needs to ballyhoo a black agenda. That does not mean the president does not need to deal with a black agenda. The president does not need to get out there and do what we should be doing. Saying the president shouldn't ballyhoo a black agenda is not saying the president should not be held to a black agenda or deal with a black agenda. And that is not what you said. Don't talk to us like we stupid, Tavis. Hold on a minute. We're going to take a break, and then I'm going to let you say whatever you want to say. But if you want to deal with truth, let's deal with truth lovingly. But don't love me and distort me. Keeping it real. Sharpton, that's my name. I'll be right back with Tavis Smiley if he's still there, and Dr. Charles Olgetree right after this.